All right, let's jump right in with another deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring the world of pet products. We'll focus on grooming, care, and some of those essential accessories everyone's talking about. We've got all sorts of interesting stuff to dig into, like product descriptions, those best-selling lists, and even some pro tips for keeping our furry friends happy and healthy.
It seems like the options for pet products these days are, well, endless. It's a far cry from just basic collars and leashes.
Oh, absolutely. One thing that really caught my eye was this Kit de Aseo 4-in-1 pair of mascotas. It's like a complete grooming kit, all in one. You've got your nail grinder, clippers, de-shedding brush, even a steam brush. So I'm curious, are these multifunctional kits actually a good deal, or should we be getting specialized tools for each grooming task?
Well, those multifunctional kits, they can be very appealing, especially, I'd say, for someone just starting out with at-home grooming. They can be a good value, for sure, especially if you're on a budget. But the key to good grooming is choosing tools that actually suit your pet's needs.
Mm.
Their breed, their coat type, even their personality.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, you wouldn't want to use the same brush on a Chihuahua and a Samoyed, right?
Exactly.
So it's about finding that balance between, convenience and what's truly best for your pet.
Right. And it reminds me of something I noticed, particularly in those Temu bestsellers.
Mm.
There's a definite trend towards specialized tools for specific breeds.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It seems like everything is from a double-coated breeds or for doodles. Are we just seeing a rise in those breed-specific needs, or is it more like, marketing hype?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Some breeds, like doodles, they do have unique grooming needs. Their curly coats require special tools, and regular brushes just won't do.
So that dog brush for a grooming doodle hair we saw, that's not just a gimmick.
Not necessarily. It could be a good tool designed for that specific type of coat, but you're right to be cautious about those marketing claims. It's always good to, do your research.
Absolutely. Speaking of unique tools, what about those more unconventional ones, like the steamy cat brush? Steam for cats. Is that like a spa day for felines?
Where it's an interesting concept, steam can actually be beneficial. It loosens fur, stimulates circulation. It could make grooming, a nicer experience,
Aw.
especially for cats who tend to get matted.
Oh, okay.
But you need to be very cautious with anything involving heat.
Right, of course.
Burns can happen if it's not used correctly.
So maybe leave the steam treatments to the professionals.
Unless you're very confident and have really researched the product, yeah, that's probably wise.
All right. Now, we also saw some interesting things like cat nail caps and even pet hair dye. Have you ever tried those?
I have seen nail caps used effectively, especially for cats who scratch a lot. They can be a good alternative to declawing. But it's important to introduce them slowly, make sure they fit properly.
Right, yeah.
As for hair dye, I'd say it's more of a novelty. It's important to think about your pet's comfort and safety first.
Definitely agree with that. So it seems like grooming has gotten much more, I don't know, sophisticated.
It really has. And with so many choices out there, it's more important than ever to choose wisely. But grooming's just one part of pet care. Let's talk about, well, pet comfort items.
Okay, let's dive into that. I'm seeing all these super comfy looking beds, travel-friendly water bottles, even a pet carrier backpack that looks futuristic.
Quite a difference from simple dog beds and bowls, isn't it?
Right.
It really shows how our relationship with pets is changing.
I'm drawn to those descriptions of the beds. They sound so plush. Some even mention orthopedic support, which must be great for older pets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about giving them the same comfort and care we'd want for ourselves.
Right.
And it goes beyond beds. Look at those travel water bottles and food containers. It shows how pets are becoming a bigger part of our busy lives.
Yeah. Speaking of convenience, there's this Paros y Gatos con cerradura de 4VS, a pet dual with a four-way lock. Seems handy for controlling where your pet goes. No more midnight meows at the bedroom door.
And that's a perfect example of how pet products are adapting. It's about finding solutions that make life better for both pets and their owners.
I love that. But it's not all about convenience and gadgets. One of our sources talks about natural and organic products for pet well-being. We see that in the Rosino pet shampoo with natural ingredients and that pet hair smoothing spray on the Temu list. So what's the deal with these natural and organic pet products? Are they really all that?
That's a good question. There are definitely potential benefits, especially if your pet has sensitive skin.
That makes sense. But with so many products saying they're natural or organic, how can you tell?
It is tricky. The pet product industry, well, it's not as regulated as we might like, so you have to do your research, read those ingredient lists carefully.
So no more just grabbing the first bottle off the shelf. We have to actually read the labels.
Exactly. Be an informed consumer. And when in doubt, talk to your vet.
All right, so we've got our grooming strategies. We're making our pets feel like royalty with comfy beds and cool gadgets. And we're even getting smarter about buying natural products. What else is there to explore in this world of pet care?
Well, we've covered a lot, but there's one important thing we haven't talked about yet. Safety. Our sources mention some products related to that, like the pet door with that four-way lock and those water-resistant dog shoes.
Oh, you're right. Safety is super important. It's easy to get distracted by all the fun stuff, but our pet's well-being is what really matters. What else should pet owners be thinking about when it comes to keeping their pets safe, both inside and outside?
Microchipping is a good place to start. It's like extra insurance.
Yeah.
If your pet ever gets lost, it increases the chances of finding them.
Yeah, microchipping is a must for every pet I've had. But what about dangers around the house, like cleaning supplies, medications, things a curious cat might get into?
You're exactly right. Pet-proofing your home is so important, especially if you have a puppy or kitten who likes to explore with their mouth.
Right.
Make sure any dangerous stuff is locked away, electrical cords are out of reach,
Right.
and be mindful of small things they could swallow.
Okay, good points. Now, what about safety outside, like walks in the park or playtime in the backyard?
Whether you have a fenced yard or go to parks, supervision is key. Keep your pet on a leash when you need to, and always be aware of your surroundings, traffic, other animals, even poisonous plants.
It's easy to get distracted, but we have to be responsible for our pets. Any other tips for staying safe outdoors?
Knowing some basic pet first aid can be really helpful. Familiarizing yourself with how to handle minor injuries, or even knowing what to do in an emergency can be a lifesaver.
So it's like having a pet first aid kit, both literally and figuratively.
Exactly. Now, before we move on, I wanted to touch on something we've seen in our sources, this idea of treating pets like family members. We see it in the descriptions of those fancy beds, the focus on comfort, even those travel accessories. What do you think this says about how our relationship with pets is changing?
It's a really sweet trend. I think it shows a deeper understanding and appreciation for the bond we have with animals. They're not just pets anymore, they're family.
I totally agree. And that means we have a greater responsibility to care for them, not just physically, but emotionally too.
That's so important. It's about knowing their personality, what makes them happy, providing them with mental stimulation, playtime, training, even just spending time with them.
Absolutely. And just like with family, communication is important. Paying attention to their body language, noticing signs of stress, responding to their needs with patience. It's all part of being a good pet parent.
So we've covered grooming, those luxurious pet items, safety, and even the evolving role of pets in our lives. It's clear that pet care is always changing, but one thing stays the same: the love we have for our pets.
Will said. So, to everyone listening, keep exploring this world of pet products and care. Stay informed, choose wisely, and always think about what's best for your furry friend.
They depend on us.
And remember, sometimes the simplest things mean the most. A cuddle, a game of fetch, a scratch behind the ears. Those are the things that strengthen the bond we have with our pets. It really is amazing. The more we learn about our pets, the better we can care for them.
Yeah, it's incredible. But with all this talk about the future of pet care, I do wonder, are we maybe going too far? I mean, with all the specialized diets, high-tech gadgets and everything, could we be spoiling our pets too much? Or even, losing sight of their natural instincts?
That's a very thoughtful question. And it's one we should think about carefully. It's great to give our pets the best, but we need to remember they're still animals with their own needs and instincts.
Right. We don't want to end up with pets who can't function without all the fancy stuff.
Exactly. It's about balance, providing for their needs while letting them be themselves. Things like puzzle toys or letting them run and explore, those are important too.
So it's not just about material things. It's about really understanding them and creating an environment where they can thrive.
That's it. That's the core of pet care, that connection and understanding.
Well, to all our listeners, keep exploring this amazing world of pet products and care. Stay informed, make good choices, and always put your pet's needs first.
They rely on us.
And remember, cat, sometimes the simplest things are the most meaningful.
A cuddle, the game of fetch, a scratch behind the ears, those are the moments that really matter.
So well said.